Hello, welcome to the July 26th, 2020 Sunday meeting of the Natural Rights Sangha. It's online because we're scattered all over the world, and also because at this time there is still a virus going on which is making meeting in person with people very difficult. Of course, I'm always willing to meet with you online on Zoom. I can set up a meeting with you very easily individually. Um, And if you ever have any questions, please contact me, Mark at naturalrightsonga.org. Okay, and I hope you do have questions because those help make these meetings happen. We always start with a meditation. Uh, if you've been here before, you know you should have a timer so you can time your meditation 6, 8, or 10, or 12, or however many minutes you wish. If you started with 6, by now you probably are moving to 8 or 10. But it's whatever is good for you. And we ask you to sit up straight, relaxed. There are many types of meditation, but the one we use is just to focus on the breathing and to let thoughts go. It's very relaxing. So you just focus on maybe on the breath going past the tip of the nose on the way in and the way out. And if thoughts come, let them go. Yeah. So please set your timer. If you don't have one, like with your clock put on airplane mode, please do so and put it on airplane mode, that is, and then use it for your timer for however you'd like to meditate or however long you'd like to meditate. And I'm not going to keep this going during the meditation. What's the point? Your eyes will be closed and I won't be saying anything. So please turn this off. And when the timer goes off, please turn it back on. So let's meditate. Okay, so following our meditation, hopefully we're centered and grounded and feeling peaceful right now. Peaceful is what we want. And I promised last week that I would continue with really good teachers after what we did last week regarding good things to read, which helps our Shravana, our learning good teaching, so we can contemplate them and then hopefully move into the Nijinasana, which is the abidance in them, being with them. But one question that came in is, what is this picture behind me? Well, it's a picture from one of my favorite places in Thailand. It's a Buddhist temple called Wat Sangatan. Absolutely beautiful grounds. It's a ferry ride up the river from Bangkok on the Chao Phraya river ferry, which you can pick up anywhere on the river in Bangkok. And you just head upriver or north, almost the last stop before Nonthaburi. You're right next to a big bridge. And you get off and you walk about 10 minutes and you're at Wat Sangatan. And you can look it up online. And you might be lucky enough to find Pookie there. Pookie is the great lady who's been helping foreign monks for years getting acclimated and getting visas and answering their questions about Thailand, and also pointing a lot of foreigners like me to the right place and helping us out. And she has rooms to rent there too, which are very nicely priced near the temple. There aren't many, but if you're lucky, you can get one. But if you want a peaceful stay, not a wild stay like in downtown Bangkok, how that can be. But that's from Wat Sangatan. And that was taken by one of our board members this year in February. So, okay, enough about that. Last week we talked about Robert Wolfe and livingnonduality.org and how excellent his books are And the one book back there with Ramana Maharshi on the cover is one of his. I just like Ramana in the picture whenever I can get him, even though it's a small picture. And we talked about A Personal Religion of Your Own and Pointers from Nisargadatta Maharaj by Ramesh Balsekar is being very recommended. And I'm going to come back to this page. There's something else I wrote on it since then. We talked about how the Bhagavad Gita in Advaitic thought moves to the Ashtavakra Gita, which I highly recommend, especially in a translation or commentary by Robert Wolfe or Ramesh, or if we can find one by Swami Nityananda, who was fantastic, and how thought moved to Gaudapada, and the Gaudapada Karika, also called the Mandukya Karika. Karika means commentary. The Mandukya Upanishad is considered one of the best early holy books of its type regarding spiritual truth. And then you come to this person, Shankara. Shankara is huge. As I mentioned last week, some very well-versed spiritual people I know say the closer you are to Shankara, the better you are. And the farther your teacher is away from Shankara, and of course, Sri Ramana Maharshi, whose picture is back there, the book by Robert Wolfe about him. He's mentioned by Robert Wolfe in virtually every book he's ever written. And we talked a lot about Ramana last week. So what teachers do I recommend anyway? And I can honestly say that every board of director member in the Natural Rights Sangha agrees with me on 99% of what I'm about to say, because we've talked all about it. But first of all, I'm going to go into the other aspect of things and say to please avoid the teachers that skip steps. There are teachers that go to the final stages of spiritual teachings and say, oh yes, you don't need to do anything. You can't do anything. There's nothing to do, So, and then the followers of these teachers run around saying, why are you meditating? Why are you doing mantras? Why are you doing this? It's all needless. There is no you, and therefore you can't do anything, so it's all irrelevant. Well, they're missing the boat. They're missing the boat. Shankara, who we just mentioned, certainly would agree at the final stages, but he also advocated practices, doing things. He wrote songs in praise of certain deities to be chanted, to be sung. He recommended various meditations and practices as part of what he did. Shankara is the absolute top-notch person in spirituality in India. He recommended practices. Sri Ramakrishna did everything. He did practice upon practice, and he tried them all out. That was part of what he did. Ramana Maharshi, when he answered a person's question, he would gauge the person and give the answer that would help them in the moment. Now, usually he asked them to look at who they were. He said, find out who am I, and you'll know everything. Okay, that's a very simplified version of his teachings. But some people, once he advocated yoga for somebody. He advocated devotional practices to other people because he could tell that was the path that was best for them. Okay, so all of these people here, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, for goodness sake, full of practices and pujas and mantras and prayers and invocations. Moving on down to Shankara and Ramana, say, you need to do practices until you don't. Meditation is good. Mantras can be good. Dancing and singing. Devotional things. Karma yoga things, which is working. Giving selfless service to people in order to And sometimes it's done in honor of your deity, in accordance with your deity's wishes, but other times it's done just because this is what you feel is to be done. All of these things are good. And any teacher that says, forget it, just go from A to Z without doing B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. in the middle is hurting you, in my opinion. And I want to mention that everything here is a function of language. All of the definitions and interpretations are ours of the natural right Sangha that we use here. Some terms we use can be defined different ways. You could even take the precepts, and some lawyers could argue about what's meant by this or this or this. We go with our definition, and we do not intend it to be argued over or made into an excuse to do anything. Yeah, and you can do that with language at any time. And that's not us, okay? That's not us. Now, another example of someone who believed in steps. Now, Shankara, in his book, some of his writings talks about the steps taken during the spiritual path and how teachers will normally teach in a systematic way to help their students work through, find out if you're the body. Is the real you the body? And they work on that and they come back and they usually conclude, no, it's not. Okay, you're the mind then. Find out if you're the mind. And they come back after a while and go, no, we're not the mind either, are we? And then there's a path to this. There's over 99% of the people need to go in this order. It seems to be part of the human condition. And again, teachers that don't recommend this, I don't recommend. Now, this book is another book that's very good. It's The Master Key to Self-Realization. Now, this guy is the author's name. Sri Sadguru Siddharameshwar Maharaj. Oh my God. I didn't even write the Sadguru here. Sri Sadguru Siddharameshwar Maharaj. So probably better just to use Master Key to Self-Realization. But this man was the teacher of Nisargadatta. And Nisargadatta, though uneducated, supposedly, only up to 8th grade or so, took some very, very good notes, which are a big part of this book. The only other part of this book is the master's own 80 or 90-page work summarizing the teachings and how to teach. Very interestingly, his steps are virtually identical to the steps advocated by Shankara in his book, in his works, which incorporates students starting in one place and doing a step-by-step practice to realize more and more of the truth until finally they get to where, whoa. And guess what? Then they don't need to practice anymore. But it takes a while to get to that place. And a lot of the teachers that get there still do the practices just because what better thing to do while in this body on this plane, if you want to call it that, what better thing to do than to do what helped get them there. Now, another teacher I'd like to mention is this gentleman. This gentleman is now 90 years old, and his name is Chandra Swamiji. Now, don't get him mixed up with the Chandra Swamiji who was going to prison for tax evasion and jet-setting around with a bunch of happy women 20 or 30 years ago in India. This is the real deal. Chandra Swami Udasin, Udasin. Now, Chandra Swami, with the help of his most beloved follower, who we'll talk about in a minute, has written these books, or these books have come out about him and about his teachings. Chandra Swamiji details how, as a young monk, he used to have a daily regimen that included every type of practice. He would do mantras, he would do chants, he would do yoga, he would do pranayama, and he also did intense meditation. So he was devotional, he was meditational and knowledge-based, he was physical-based with yoga. He did everything. Guess what? Eventually, when he became realized, he realized that one path was the better path. And that was his true way. That's what got him there. But the way he got there was by using them all. So in his book, he tells you about all of them and doesn't really recommend any over the other. He says, start off, try them all, and see what works. Well, that's fantastic. And that's very different than what some of the people say who say just go from A to Z and don't bother with anything else. So Chandra Swamiji's student, who very fortunately we still have with us today, and so was Chandra Swamiji, but he's going on 90 or so, and he's slowing down a bit, but his ashram is still there, and you can look it up, and I still think it's a great place to visit, but make reservations. It's very popular with Europeans, especially French-speaking Europeans. There are a lot of them who go there. They love Chandra Swami, Udasin, and deservedly so. I can tell you a lot of stories about him, but I won't right now. But the one gentleman I would like to recommend wholeheartedly to anybody as far as being a top-notch spiritual teacher who's finally letting himself come out on the internet and give talks on the internet and be on YouTube and have clips of his talks. And this gentleman, I can speak from personal experience. I've known him for at least 17 years now. And he's not caught up with any vasanas or samskaras. They're gone. You know, at least the binding ones, the ones that grab you and tighten up on you, they're gone. He has a personality, we all do, and including the great saints all had personalities. Nisargadatta could be angry at times, and Ramesh came across as very intellectual, especially compared to Nisargadatta, and Papaji was charismatic and wonderful and could be angry, but, or ferocious, but laughing and loving at the same time. And Ramana Maharshi was quiet. His teaching was silence. And there is an incarnation of Shiva as silence that he was considered to be an incarnation of, But Swami Atmananda Udasin, this gentleman, okay, he's a student of Chandra Swamiji, and he's highly recommended by me. And the whole board would agree in highly recommending this gentleman. They all know him, and they say, as far as modern teachers go, he is excellent. Okay. Now, he has an ajatananda.org is his website, and Ajatananda Ashram is his ashram, and this is in Rishikesh in northern India, a beautiful location, and he gives satsangs a lot. That's his life, is taking care of the ashram and giving satsangs and helping people. That's really what he does. He also works on getting great spiritual works translated into English and French that haven't been, and that's him. That's what he does. I won't talk much more about him right now. If you have questions, please ask. But I want to recommend him very strongly. So I've recommended the Ashtavakra Gita, the works of Shankara, also the works of Gaudapada, and especially the works of Shankara as translated by Ramana Maharshi. You can't get better than that. One saint translating another saint. I've recommended Swami Nikilanda as a translator. I recommended 2 books, especially by Ramesh Balsekar, A Personal Religion of Your Own and Pointers from Nisargadatta Maharaj. I recommended everything by Robert Wolfe. And cute story, when I saw the Swami in 2013 in India, I mentioned where I was living, and he says, "Oh, you might know Robert Wolfe." And he ran into his library and came out with a copy of one of Robert's early books. And I just started laughing, and I said, "Yeah, Robert's a friend. I see him every week," which was a great thing because it helped me to entice the Swami to come to give satsang in America for a few years. And of course, he met Robert the first couple days, and they got along great. But it was another funny story. They went for a walk together in this beautiful natural path that Robert goes on virtually every day where he lives in California. And I said, "What did you guys talk about?" And Swami said, "You know, there really wasn't a whole lot to say." And you know, when you get people together like that, that's the truth of it. That's where the knowingness comes in. And there comes a point where you don't need to say anything. So here I am blabbering away. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. And we'll end with the 4 immeasurables. Okay, so the 4 immeasurables. Let's start with I. Please repeat after me. And as usual, I go to the Namaste or Namaskar position, which is also the prayer position. Okay, so may I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May I reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Okay, so please go to we now. So think of people you love, you care about. Also, possibly think of people that you don't care about so much or wish could do better or really messed you up or something. And you might want to share this with them too. So let's go to we. Envision the we. May we have happiness and all the causes of happiness. May we be liberated from suffering and all the causes of suffering. May we never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May we reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Okay, well, hey, well, thank you for being here. And next week will be August. My goodness. Blessings.